Hi, my name is Sharon Khan, and I will be talking a little bit in a very short time about anti-Semitism in Germany. So, just to give you a few numbers, which sometimes give an idea, sometimes not. Um, so, the numbers say that in 2020, the police filed 2,351 anti-Semitic crimes. This is 15% more than in 2019. In 2021, it is already 3,028 anti-Semitic crimes. Of those 3,028 anti-Semitic crimes, 63 were actually physical injuries and, other violent crimes. What we do know and what is very much clear and discussed in society in Germany is that these are just the tip of the iceberg. So when we speak of an anti-Semitic act, what do we speak about? We speak about things that most of us know, which is like drawing a swastika on a Jewish grave or simply attacking, insulting Jewish people whom you can identify as Jewish, right? So essentially a religious looking person, meaning their clothes is identifiable. So shortly said, you could say there is overt anti-Semitism where, straight up, someone is Jewish and you say something like an insult or an act and you hurt them. Another example is, of course, the horrible incident and attack on the synagogue in Halle. But the problem is, and this is my experience very much so, is that the grand difficulty is actually for many to decode anti-Semitism, and this is why it's actually just the tip of the iceberg. So, shortly about me, I'm French Israeli. I was born in Germany. I don't have an accent when I speak German, but when I am in Germany, someone who is, let's say, originally who has German blood will automatically know that I'm not German. And one of two things, they will either call me out on that. So you could say this is actually a racist act if they want to. And why is that a racist act before it is an anti-Semitic act? Because that implies that actually you still think that a German person looks a particular way. I doubt that you would say that about a French person, for instance, And the problem about it, that is the decoding of it, because it's so often so very, very subtle. And this is something that I find so interesting about this topic, is that you need to listen very carefully, pay attention, and it always is either linked to stereotypes or to the Holocaust not being as bad, because that would imply someone has to take responsibility. And who is responsible? So, of course, you could say the Nazis were responsible, right? But 80 years later, this doesn't make people do not relate to that anymore. So when people say, it's 80 years ago, is that something that one should say? Is that something that feels good for any descendant of those people? Fact is, what you feel is that people do not want to talk about things that are uncomfortable, especially when people are being shown in not such a pretty light. And this is the last thing I'll say. The difficulty in decoding anti-Semitism for many is this fine line between what arguably people would call the freedom of speech. So just to say, I can say whatever I want. And where is what I'm saying actually wrong and sometimes anti-Semitic, sometimes racist? A lot can be said and a lot can be done. And I hope you have a wonderful workshop.